You know, our text starts off and it says, therefore, seeing we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses. So we thought we'd show you some U of A crowd here just to think about this. You know, it's interesting. It says that we got this great cloud of witnesses, and invariably someone will say, well, wait, who exactly is that? They'll also ask the question, and I get this, where they're going, is that possibly meaning people who have gotten right with God and lived right for God and have passed away, and now they can see us from heaven? That'd be kind of cool. I mean, my dad passed away 2 weeks ago. It'd be kind of cool if he could see all this going on. My mom, that would be all right. That is maybe a possibility, but there would have to be a caveat. To do that, there'd have to be a filter installed. Meaning by that, because we know in Revelation it tells us that there is no crying, no pain, no suffering, no sorrow in heaven. They couldn't see us mess up. And so some kind of a filter would have to be there that they're cheering our victories and not any of our failures through that. However, you also have to look at the immediate context. The entire passage started off with therefore. And here at the Bridge, we always ask the question, what is it there for? All right? I want to know, why is it there? Well, he had just come off talking about these great heroes of the faith who stood for God when it was difficult, when it was a problem, all the different stuff, and God continued to be faithful. So he could be pointing out that they stand as witnesses of the faithfulness of God. Through good times, through bad times, he always comes through. So that could actually be the witnesses he's talking about as well. You know, it's been said before that sometimes God calms the storm, but yet sometimes the storm rages and God calms his children. All right, so that perspective of being able to go, okay, they are that witness. Now, we're in the middle of football season, so I want you to think about how crazy football fans can really get. All right, painting themselves up, doing all that kind of stuff. That's part of what they do. What you have to realize is they play a very real role in the outcome of the game. I don't know how many of you, but probably a lot of you at the different locations have actually been involved in competitive sports growing up. And there were moments where you were so tired you didn't think you could take another step. And then you'd look up and hear the crowd roaring for you. And doggone it, if you weren't able to continue to do beyond what you thought because of the crowd. Now, I want you to think about the spiritual implications of that concept. All right, there's two. The first one is this. Guys, God wants us to be able to take great strength from our crowd, from the people who are cheering us on, whether the people who witness the faithfulness of God or whether we're talking about other people maybe who have gone before us, who are able to stand up and cheer us on to be able to be successful. And when we feel down and we feel out, when we look at the right crowd, the end result is we're able to continue to have success. But the other side is just as true. Guys, in any arena, when sports are being played, you have your crowd, but then you've got the opposing crowd. They're yelling against you, right? And guys, we live in a world where the world does yell against us in a very, very real way. To try and say somehow we're not impacted by that would simply just not be true. Guys, the things we think, the things we see, view, the things that we're involved with, sometimes even the way we dress. I had a number of these leisure suits. Don't look at me like that. Some of you did too. Okay, I wasn't alone in that. We were told that that was kind of cool back in the day. What you have to understand is that we're impacted by the world. And so because of that, one of the key elements of being able to do this life well is choosing which crowd we're going to listen to. The world will always be screaming and yelling against God, God's principles, God's direction. But when we pay attention to the right crowd, we get strength and we get courage to step forward and to be able to have success. So focus on that right crowd.